So the phrase that the father ends with talking about the egg and how if, like, the butler, the servant knew what it meant is an interesting one because I honestly didn't know the phrase off the top of my head. I remember hearing about it somewhere, so I did a quick Google search just to kind of refresh my memory, get a bit more clarification. And given the fact that they end the episode with the confirmation that Erika and Nagi knew each other as kids and as seen by that family photo, you know, the parents, literally, it looked like a very loving family situation. So there's a lot of questions, but the phrase does basically sum down to as like a parasitic bird that ends up leaving its egg in another's nest, and even at the cost of their own offspring, when it hatches, it gets fed and is served as if it was their own sort of a thing. So it's interesting because the end of the episode definitely gives me the impression that obviously the father knew about the switch at birth since obviously years before. But the big thing for me is if they were quote-unquote childhood friends, what caused them to not remember each other? Because you might be able to say they're a little half their current age, maybe a bit more than based on that poster. What were they, like 6 to 8 years old, maybe something like that? So what would happen, because, yeah, you know, you could argue a lot of kids look the same at that age, so there's definitely some questions, and I guess based on what some source readers are saying, the reveal of the picture apparently happens a lot later in the manga, so the fact that we did get it here probably means we're not going to get any major answers anytime soon. I did see some people get confused in the way that they're thinking, oh wait, does that mean that Erika and Nagi are the actual siblings? I don't think so. That would honestly be more shocking to me than some Attack on Titan plot twist, if that was the case, just because it doesn't seem likely. Given everything we've seen, and given the fact that he dropped the phrase, it does feel to me that rather than it being an accidental switched at birth, maybe there was something going on there that was forced for a specific reason to promote growth for both of them. I don't know, but I'm excited to see what they decide to pull. And I wasn't expecting something like that in this episode, given it was a pretty normal episode from what you would come to expect in a show like this at this point. And the idea of like further promoting like the sister and just how obviously conflicted she is. The fact that, you know, the person that she's admired growing up her entire life, the one she always wanted to go everywhere with, you know, the fact of the matter is there's that shocking realization that they're not blood related, and because she's developing into a woman, you know, you get the anime trope of, well, we're not actually related, so therefore maybe I can make my move. Hell, even Erika herself says it'd be cute if they were together. So, like, given that this we've seen in anime time and time again, the difference I would say that this show has going on for it is rather than making it weird or overly just feels like it's pandering to a fetish, it honestly feels like they navigated that kind of minefield without setting anything off. I'm not gonna root for them to be together, but you can kind of see the path of how they could make it still remain to be part of the show without it being full on like, well, we're not really related, so therefore I'm going to go marry my sister. Because for him, he literally grew up thinking that's his sister, so he's not going to change his mind anytime soon. But I like the fact that they're able to incorporate it without being the same thing we see all the time. Like, honestly, I've seen more people say, like, I'm surprised I'm not more mad about the sister, not sister romance plotline. But, you know, somehow they make it work, and I have to agree with that. But it was nice because they incorporated it into this Mother's Day episode, which I'm always a fan when anime that are airing in a specific season technically correspond with holidays or events in our own world. So if you're, you know, you have a Christmas episode, even if it's not necessarily in December, you know, I'm happy that, you know, if it's in the winter season or the fall season kind of lining up in that way. So in the case of just coming off of Mother's Day ourselves, it was nice to see that this show was able to use it in a pretty fun way because the parents on, you know, Nagi and as well as Sachi's side, they're just such oddballs, but they're workaholics. Given the careful use of money, not overspending, you can tell, like, just because they had a poor lifestyle doesn't mean that, like, they had bad morals or anything like that. They knew how to save a buck and they knew not to waste it on gifts just because a simple calendar told you. But I like the fact that they went out of their way to try to find that gift, and I like seeing the humor of it, like, well, we can't get her a potted plant, she'll kill it. You know, we can't give her a nice dress because she's a workaholic, but we could get her an apron given the fact that she always is working sort of a thing. And the fact that the dad actually was more emotional over it than the mom just because he also got one, I thought was great. It's just nice to see how they kind of incorporated that brother-sister, not really brother-sister plot line in the middle of a sweet Mother's Day idea sort of a thing. And then when they decide to sucker punch you with the oh shit, Erica's actually worried that she's about to be dragged out of the house because, her dad's about to take her away. It was interesting, right? Because in return, then you get Sachi talking and going out to dinner. Of course, the servants, the workers of that restaurant end up thinking that the boss has a little too underage of a girlfriend, which was a joke I was not expecting. But it's nice to see how he was probing for that information while just treating someone who doesn't really get to experience things like that all too often, given her upbringing. And it was interesting to see because prior to that conversation, I'm willing to believe that Erica was right, that he was going to take her home, that if there wasn't proof that it was working, therefore they needed to be separated. But given the fact that he notices the pictures on the wall, given what she says, like even if they're different, even if they fight, that's honestly actually what makes them click so well, given their unique personalities and everything like that. I mean, we're now, 10 episodes into the show at this point. We get 24 episodes confirmed for this season. And I'm glad that they're still taking their time with the potential routes. Like, sometimes you can have characters who are a part of this, love square going on here and remove them for a couple of episodes, but not remove them in a way that they're no longer relevant at all, but more so, given what we had in this episode, it makes the most sense to have the siblings / not siblings / engaged but maybe don't want to be engaged, rather than the, I've been having a crush on so-and-so because I grew up with them sort of a thing. And I'm excited to see, because I think entering this episode, I was wondering personally, watching, and I was enjoying it, but I was wondering, it just felt like I was missing a hook. Maybe missing a little bit of drama that I haven't already come to anticipate. And then the end of the episode, before the picture was fully revealed, I was thinking to myself, you know what, maybe they don't need a hook. Maybe what we currently have will be enough for some time. I liked what they did with the sister. I like what they're doing with the bonding between this engaged couple that doesn't want to be a couple, but probably does want to be a couple. And then they added the picture as that added, oh shit, now I'm really excited for Core 2. Because there's some uncertainty about their past that has me eager to see more. I mean, an episode like this really does highlight what type of show it can be. It can be really goofy with its very funny art style that it goes into. It can be a drama with the romance of the will they, won't they. But I still have to commend the show for making me say I still like all the players involved, from the parents to the potential romance past to the main man himself. I actually enjoy, I'm not saying I love and say they're 10 out of 10 characters across the board, but I enjoy every character shown in this show so far who is supposed to be a main character or a side character. Now, the only character you could counter me on is, 2 or 3 weeks back when you had that one dude tag along on that date and he was the biggest fanboy. I didn't like him, but outside of that, you kind of get my point. I like this show. I'm continuing to enjoy it, and until I don't enjoy it, you'll probably see videos every week or every other week, given how I feel about particular episodes. So thoughts down below. What do you think of the ending and everything we saw in this episode? Let me know. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. Till next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.